And of course, they're patched into YouTube. Of course, they're editing what you're doing. This is an exercise in warring against us. We're the legitimate people saying we don't want to be raped by the foreign banks. We don't want to go into serfdom like Greece or Iceland. And they're saying, no, you're going to feel our full might. And so they are testing, and they admit this at each of these events, how to bring in their internationalization of a city, how to have secret police, how to have their criminal operation dominate everyone. This is about the city and your state, your region, your country going under globalist control. And they are under globalist control in these events. This is about your city going under foreign private corporate control. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd just like to just touch upon that as well, Alex. I'm just so proud of the Toronto residents and the other associated protesters for the incredible restraint they showed amidst such police thuggery. The New World Order, they want a violent response from the public right now to further speed up their imposition of this technotronic advanced slave society. I believe right now, as what you're doing, Alex, as what Dan is doing, as what I'm doing right now, we just need to unlock people's minds, wake them up. But I just want to give a warning to the New World Order that death-worshipping fascism has always failed throughout history. And as long as tyrants die, liberty will never be stopped. Throughout history, we have always won, and we are guided, we are divinely guided, and we will do whatever it takes. If they become much more fascist, we will resist the same way that they resisted in World War II Europe. We will do whatever it takes to defend what we believe in, because we are human beings, our lives have value, and we will not take it. But right now, they're not forcing people to join the armed forces. They're not forcing people to go into McDonald's. They're not forcing people to take vaccinations. They're using mind control.
Well, they're trying, though. They're starting to get ready for that, though.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, other points that both of you want to make about what you've witnessed while you're there.
Absolutely. Whilst we were running down to Queen and Spadina to cover the mass concentration camp roundup of those 244 reporters and civilians, Dan and I got searched about 3 times, and there was a boy, he must have been about 17 years old, who was running through the rain. He was giving us a quick interview, and then an unmarked car came blasting round the corner. 6 officers jumped out and snatched him off the street in front of us. And then one of the officers, in fact, all 6 of them came into our little cubbyhole away from the rain, and they started pointing at Dan, saying, "Oh, yeah, we know you. You're a known conspiracy theorist. Oh, yeah, and we know Alex Jones. He's that tinfoil hat wearer." So they were mentioning you as well, Alex. So you can imagine the intelligence reports they get given about people like us, about how we're just crazy, paranoid, anti-government loonies.
I guess Goldman Sachs hasn't stolen $600 trillion, according to the Washington Post. I guess we're not going into a depression. I guess they didn't lie about WMDs. I guess they're not torturing people. I guess, I mean, don't these police understand what they're helping to build?
I don't think they all do. I think, as we saw, a lot of them are chosen for their obedience, psychological acquiescence to power. As Alan Watt from Cutting Through the Matrix talks about, in the psychopathic hierarchy of control, they worship people more powerful than them, and they hate people less powerful, like the general public. So it is a kind of egomaniac, sadomasochist enjoyment of power. Which
well, it is a power trip. I mean, a lot of these people who do work for the government never had success in life, and suddenly they're given a badge, a gun, all this power, but I mean, it's coming out everywhere that everything we've talked about is true. I mean, they would say 5 years ago that I was a kook, that there was, they weren't going to set up cybersecurity when I'd read the Pentagon plans for it that were public. And now they're openly saying, yes, we're going to track you. Yes, we're going to spy on you. Yes, we're going to shut you down. Yes, we want to arrest people that tell conspiracy theories. I mean, what do they think is going to happen when they start trying to arrest people for their speech? Everybody's been fighting as hard as they can to keep this peaceful. But I don't think they realize we're not the poor, disarmed Russian peasants. We're not the disarmed Germans. And not everybody is a pot-bellied, decadent slob. I mean, I don't think all these little kids in black uniforms realize that they are really starting something that isn't going to end well.
No, I agree with you, Alex, 100%. Across the world, I think people are ready to do whatever it takes because we've got nothing left to lose. I mean, they've taken away everything, and they're trying to take away the very last vestiges of our freedom. So we need to ask ourselves, are we human beings or are we slaves? And it's a fundamental point. And I truly believe that the victory is already half won the moment we spiritually and psychologically say that we will not take it anymore.
Well, I agree with you. We've got to get angry. We've got to get comfortable speaking out in public. And we've got to get really aggressive at InfoWar, not just with T-shirts or banner hangs on highways. What one person can do in their neighborhood, putting up 100, simple computer printouts, black and white with a message or a website, or micro FM or AM, or local, TV broadcasts that go into a few neighborhoods, or I mean, people have just got to make a scene. They've got to get aggressive. And every day, videos and articles and information gets sent to us that people are producing that does get the word out. And if the artist and people just turn their power loose. I mean, who's that artist that goes up and paints billboards with anti-corporate messages?
Banksy.
I think one of them's English is his last name.
Yeah, his name is Banksy.
Yeah. I'm not saying people should do that in face of this tyranny, but my point is we haven't even begun to fight. We haven't begun to take everything back. And they're trying to intimidate us now. They're trying to beat us into submission. They're trying to sell us on shutting up because we do have power. And so the answer is don't shut up when they intimidate us. Get 10 times louder.
No, absolutely. And I'd just like to say if anyone who is prominent in the truth movement gets arrested or detained for some rubbish reason, I would really like to see a mass jailbreak of thousands of people just turning up outside this prison and really putting the prison guards on the spot. Because there's something about vast numbers of people which really terrifies the black paramilitary, psychopathic, lower-level security agents. And when they see that people will not stand up for this kind of tyranny in one massive movement, then they might be suddenly educated.
Well, they need to pick a side. I mean, this is tyranny, period. And it's time for these people to quit laughing at us. They need to make a decision. We'll be right back. This is systematic twisting of our police, systematic twisting of the citizenry and the media to accept all of this. The good news is I'm seeing even the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal admit that this is an engineered depression. Because not everyone in media and government is controlled. They're compartmentalized and controlled by the propaganda. Once the propaganda, the sleeping gas is sucked out of the room, people start waking up. Most people are not truly evil. When you talk about a Dick Cheney or a George Bush or a Cass Sunstein, those people are evil because we have their writings. Obama is evil. I mean, he's continuing the torture, the wars, saying it's good. They know. I mean, these are people. They've got, again, legislation introduced to arrest citizens for any reason and have you disappear into a black hole. The same thing in England. And I keep repeating that because, it's now mainstream news. We have 46 states, here's Bloomberg, going bankrupt. 46 states. That's why they've been, you notice as soon as they started selling derivatives in 99, they started setting up a police state. Because the IMF and World Bank have done this in countless third world countries. They've done this over and over and over again. They know what they're doing. And they know you're going to end up rioting. So I don't want violence, just like these anarchists, gave the system a pretext to crack down. We want to peacefully go out and get the moral high ground and point out to the general public who the real criminals are. But down the road, if they start trying to arrest political dissidents and take us to death dungeons, it's going to be like Robin Hood all over again. People aren't going to have a choice, and you will start seeing black arrows flying. And that's what happens when the badge and the government becomes a complete tyranny. I'm fighting to avert this as hard as I can. But as JFK said, those that make peaceful revolutions impossible make violent revolutions inevitable. Or those that make peaceful change impossible make violent revolutions inevitable. I'm paraphrasing it. But going back to Charlie Veitch and Dan Dix, again, our websites are Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com, but it's very important to contact those guys up in Canada, especially Dan Dix, because he'll be able to put together, he's a good filmmaker, a piece that will be able to live on and inspire people to understand what the G20 does when they come to their area. Guys, we're almost out of time, but I wanted to go back to Dan Dix and just say this. Dan, specifically the police knew who you were and knew who Charlie was, and they were also concerned about me.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been approached, 30 or 40 times by police. 95% of them look like they don't like me or what I do. There was a very small percentage of guys who would be like, hey, you're that guy, right on. Very small percentage of the police seem to like what I do. But definitely I'm getting recognized now because of the videos. We are going to be putting up a new video tonight. We're going to be working very hard on it for the next few hours. And basically, we documented everything that happened on this weekend, so people can tune into pressfortruth.ca to check out the new video that we should have up online tonight. And also, in a few hours, Charlie and I are going to be going down at 5:30 in downtown Toronto at College and Bay Street, which is the headquarters for the police, to send them a message, perhaps get on the bullhorn, maybe read out the oath that they swore to uphold.